and I am sorry that we are 15 minutes late because of the technical issue.
My
And
bad.
we are learning. I'm learning every day. That's a beautiful part. And okay, so welcome to my YouTube live channel. Today I have a special, super special guest for you guys, Bella from California, northern part of California. And I'm so excited to welcome her today. And today's topic is benefits of raw vegan diet in singing. So Bella is a professional teacher and coach, and she teaches piano and also singing. And also, you also coach on voice training as well for actors and actresses. So I that's very interesting, this connection, how does raw vegan diet contributes to our voice? So welcome, Bella. Would you like to introduce yourself a little bit?
Thank you, Kiko. I want to first just say thank you for inviting me onto your channel. And also a really big thank you for inviting me to talk about this, to talk about the two things I'm probably the most passionate about, which is health and singing, or music, I should say. Music and health. They're the two things that have occupied my mind for the longest period of time in my life. I became interested in both when I was a teenager, and it never stopped. And I've never had a chance to combine the two in a talk before or in a public conversation. So I am so excited. I'm sure I'm going to do my best to share as much information as I can with you and your audience. I'm sure that I'm going to walk away and think, why didn't you think to talk about this and this? Because like I said, it is my first time combining the two in public, but I do talk about this stuff with my students all the time. So yeah, I'm a music teacher. Like you said, I've been a professional musician for a long time. I started performing regularly solo when I was about 13 years old, and I've had a performance career. These days, I mostly focus on teaching and coaching. It's really my love. And yeah, well, I'm sure we'll get more into it.
Yeah, we have about 1 hour today live, so it's quite normal that we can't cover everything. We have so much in your life, and you're also a very intense person, right? Like we've been friends for the over 2 months. Like yesterday, a few days ago, when I was working on our thumbnail and on the description, YouTube description, I just realized that we've been friends only a little over 2 months, and I was just shocked because, we've been going back and forth with the voice messages, and I feel so close to you, and I feel like I've known you, as a close friend for years, like only 2 months. So yeah. Anyway, let's relax, and I want you to feel comfortable, and honestly, it's a gift. It's a gift, and my passion is to come out to bring the best of you on this channel. I love people sharing their passion, and raw vegan and singing. This music career is your passion, so I'm really excited to learn from you.
Excellent.
Okay, so not too many people. I was quite interested to learn that being on a raw vegan diet and clean diet affects our voice. Actually, it sounds quite, logic, but people don't connect to it. So, would you like to share on how you, coach people on that?
You're right. A lot of people don't connect the dots between health and singing, or their voice in general, which, by the way, if anybody is watching this video and they're thinking, well, I don't really know if I want to sing so much, there's also a lot to be said about the actual voice, which we all use to speak. And the voice is so powerful. First of all, there is so much that you can learn about yourself with your own voice. And there's so much you can learn about other people by listening to their voices. And also there's a lot of healing tools that are contained within the voice, which we can talk more about. But the connection between health and the voice is everything. Because if you think about it, your whole body is actually your voice, even though we give credit to the larynx and the lungs and the diaphragm for providing all the airflow and the resonance. The truth is the whole body works together as a holistic unit. And so therefore, everything you do to your body or everything that your body goes through affects your singing voice or your speaking voice as well. And so whatever happens to your muscles affects the way your voice sounds, affects the way it feels, your hormones. So hormonal changes, which affects everybody, depending on the time of day. If you've gotten enough sleep, your hormone levels change. The food that you consume affects the way your body behaves. It affects your voice in a holistic manner, in a systems manner, but also very directly. For example, the thing I always say is that singing and speaking with ease requires two things, and that's proper hydration and relaxation. And everything you do to your body affects those two things. So if you're dehydrated, you're not going to have the quality sound that you want or that feels good. That's the other thing, is that we can look at the voice from a vanity perspective, which is fun, really fun. It's great. It's great to do that. But there's also the experience of our voices. And that's where the feeling comes in. So when you learn how to use your voice in a manner that's relaxed and you learn certain techniques, using your voice becomes very pleasurable. And that's the angle I try to go for with everybody I work with, whether they're a singer or just somebody who uses their voice for a living, like a lawyer or a teacher or an actor, just anybody who wants to improve their voice. I try to focus on the sensation of using the voice.
I think I don't know if it was on Facebook or Instagram that you shared one of your last singing, was it on one of the recital that you sung, and you and your partner were, you both agreed that this was your voice was the best so far. Right?
Yeah.
And that's so interesting, right? Because people think that, from 20s, we'll just kind of go down the hill.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So would you like to share a little more on that?
That's a great question. I really appreciate you asking that, because it's a similar thing that dancers go through. Dancers are told that their careers are over after they reach 30, which I don't know how true that is because I'm not a professional dancer, but the singing voice, I can see why people think that, because if left unchecked, if you never pay attention to your voice, it will deteriorate. You can hear it, and you can hear an aging voice when you hear it. You know an aging voice when you're listening to one. But if you start, or if you just, anytime, it doesn't matter. But if you work on improving your voice, it's very similar to being any kind of an athlete. An athlete has to work on specific muscles as well as the whole body. But if you know which muscles to work on specifically, then you can constantly improve your voice. And I'm also a big skeptic of anything in that realm of, everything gets bad after a certain age. I don't know if any of that is true. And my goal in life is to reach the end of my life and think, I proved that one wrong. I proved that one wrong. So that's one of my goals. And I'll give you a good example of a singer who I think got better with age. And that's Leonard Cohen. Did you ever like Leonard Cohen?
If I listen to his the song, I'm not good at names.
he was kind of, even though he was kind of famous, really famous, he was still kind of one of those singers that not everybody, he was not a household name. He died about 4 years ago, I think. And he was in his 70s. Got started with his singing career when he was 30, which is actually kind of late for
Mm-hmm.
most people, and had a good career for a long time. And then he went into retirement, and his money manager, stole all of his money, and so he was forced to go back on tour. And there are a few live concerts that you can see on YouTube of him performing in London and in Ireland. And I think that it's
Mm.
the best singing I've ever heard of his whole career. And
Oh.
he made me a believer in this idea that I don't know if I want to believe any of these ideas that
Mm.
anything goes downhill with age, but he's a fantastic example of somebody who got better with age, in my opinion.
That's interesting. I don't know anything about singing or dancing, all of that, but I totally believe when I went on raw vegan diet, I truly felt like I was reversing my age, and
Mhm.
also like because I speak 4 languages, and people say, especially here in Japan, Japan is an island, right? And most people don't. They only speak Japanese. So when they
Mhm.
hear that I speak 4 languages, they say, "Oh, you must have been born with it. Oh, you learned it when you were young." But I learned French when I was past 40, and they didn't want to believe it. And
Mhm.
I think I was encouraged because I saw this YouTube of Japanese grandpa. He learned his first a second language when he was past 80, and at 90 he was learning Korean, I think. Oh no, he learned Korean first, and then he learned Chinese. And I said, if there's a passion, you can, if there's a will, there's a way, right? And but it makes it easier if you know the trick. So it's interesting that you can teach your students with tying with nutrition and also hydration, right? So maybe would you like to share about the hydration part? Because hydration, some people might think, okay, just drink a gallon of water.
Yes. In fact, I just wrote an article on my blog about hydration this week.
Mhm.
So I did it as part of the beauty food series that I started 6 weeks ago on my blog, Raw Vegan No Friends. And I was excited to write this hydration article because I wanted to have something to send my voice students to. Because you're right, it's water is not enough. If you're consuming cooked foods, especially high temperature cooked foods, like anything cooked in an oven or fried or grilled or even roasted, probably not as big of a culprit as the other things I mentioned, but anything where the water content has been completely removed from the food, then what happens is your body needs water to digest the food.
Mhm.
And so your body is going to pull from its own stores in order to digest that dehydrated food that you just ate.
Mhm.
So it's not just about drinking water. Plus, water just goes right through your stomach and it just goes right into your bloodstream and it just goes away. You don't even really absorb it that much if you don't have enough electrolytes. You need electrolytes, these minerals that help transport the water molecules at a very slow rate to the tissues, to the cells, and that's how you actually stay hydrated. So I did notice that when I went raw, especially when I started juicing, because juicing is like the ultimate hydration source. It's got
Mhm.
everything. It's got all the water and it's got all the minerals and everything. And especially after a green juice, I was talking about how your voice, you're supposed to feel good when you use your voice. And I noticed that at peak hydration, meaning after a green juice, oh, I just want to sing for hours. It's awesome.
Interesting. So, I mean, you don't feel that way with green smoothies?
Green smoothies are great. They're great. They still contain a lot of good stuff. And technically, yeah, they're gonna hydrate your body. That's for sure. But no, I don't feel that way after I drink a green smoothie. After I drink a green smoothie, I usually need to have a little water to kind of flush out. I don't, it might just be me, but I do drink a green smoothie every day though, by the way. So I'm not knocking. I think they're really important. But it's one of those things that causes me to have to like like clear my throat a lot.
Interesting.
Yeah. I don't know why that is. It's a thing that I've always had to deal with. So I don't know.
That's super interesting. So yeah, we have been on this raw vegan bundle, which started this raw vegan bundle was May, was it? Yeah, May for the first week, 10 like 10, 11 days of May. And I think because of that, thanks to that, we were high raw. Both of us, we were high low, both of us, and then because of this raw vegan bundle wave, we pretty much became fully raw. Like I have been fully raw since then, and I feel fantastic. But it's interesting, like if someone can check on not just the skin condition, but the voice quality that can improve, right? And it's someone like your partner is not fully raw vegan, but he is probably high raw vegan because you prepare meals for him. But he even noticed that your voice was better than before thanks to this diet.
I think the diet plays a large role in it because of, like I said, the hydration and the muscle relaxation, because a raw vegan diet, especially when you consume a lot of greens, is very high in magnesium. And magnesium, excuse me, magnesium that's what's in Epsom salts. That's what we take a bath with when we're sore. Magnesium relaxes the muscles. So the raw vegan diet provides hydration and relaxation in my body. It also provides something else that I think contributes to the ease in my singing voice that I've noticed lately. And that is, it helps my body handle stress better. When you have when you have any kind of fear-based thoughts going through your mind, it causes a tense reaction in the body. So even if you are eating a raw vegan diet and you're doing everything right nutritionally, but you have something really difficult happening in your life that's causing a lot of stress, you're still probably going to have some muscle tension. But the great thing about nutrition is that your body can actually defend itself against the things that happen when stress takes over. So you can have a clearer head. You can have a calmer mind, a calmer heart rate. And so I credit the improvement in my singing voice also to greater clarity, which I do give raw vegan food, as I do give that a lot of credit. And we could certainly talk about that. There is something about, I think it might have something to do with how digestion is so much easier on a raw diet. It's more efficient because if you think about it, the digestive system requires so much energy to do its job. And so you think about meat, especially red meat, takes, several hours. I want to say, it's been a long time since I looked. I want to say it takes a whole day.
Right, 24 hours or more, yeah.
24 hours. Yeah, and then you go down to poultry and then fish, and then you keep going down the line, and then you finally get to raw fruits and vegetables or lightly steamed fruits and vegetables or whatever. And it's the most efficient for your body to digest. So that means there's all this extra energy in your body all the time. And there's a clear channel between the gut and the brain, which we could also talk about because this has to do with singing, but the vagus nerve is something that plays an important role in singing, which also, I feel like I'm kind of going all over the place here because it's kind of connected, but singing actually has a calming effect on the nervous system too. So you couple singing with a raw vegan diet, and you get the hydration and the relaxation all in one beautiful package.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was just checking to see how long it takes for certain foods to digest. So let's see, fish. Is that right? It says 30 to 60 minutes. Estimated digestion time, but digestion, that doesn't sound okay. So fruits is 30 to 60 minutes.
Mhm.
It does not, this is wrong. Fish is the same time. So my sauce is not good. I wanted to make sure that, but I do remember it says that here is beef, red meat is 3 to 4 hours, but what I remember was 24 hours. But sorry, I was trying to see facts, but my chat
Mhm.
GPT is not
Okay.
things, yeah. But so anyway, as a music teacher, right? So I mean, you experience yourself that the green juice itself is very beneficial. It hydrates you. It gives you the magnesium that you need to calm your system and relaxes your body, which is very important when we speak or sing. And as I saw that you, as a music teacher, music coach, you've got so many positive feedbacks from your clients. And what do you think your secret is?
Oh, that's a great question. Hmm. I do have a really good track record. My students tend to stay with me for a minimum of 6 years,
Oh,
and some of them stay even longer. I have two students actually who started me with when they were still kids, and they're out of college now. So I think I
oh.
there are a few factors. Um, First of all, I honor each person as an individual. Each person is a potentially unique musician. That's the way I look at them. And
Mm,
every musician has their own style. So I always go into a new student's lesson thinking this is an individual person. I need to figure out who they are. I need to figure out what their learning style is, and I need to figure out what music gets them excited so that I can steer them in that direction eventually once we get through the basics.
mhm,
So I focus on their individual style. Also, I treat their lessons like as if I were in a band practice with them. Because
mm,
when I was in high school, I went to a really intense performing arts high school. It was great. It was an amazing education. It actually won several Grammy Awards for being one of the best music schools in the country. So it was very serious. And I loved every minute of it, but it was very intense. And my teachers were not always, they didn't give compliments. Let me say that. Okay. It
mm,
wasn't a warm and fuzzy environment. And after school, I would play music with my friends. Or sometimes I would do musical theater. And so I would go to rehearsals. And I always had so much fun in the rehearsals with my friends. And everybody was so supportive and complimentary. And they really made me feel like I should keep doing this. I'm not just doing music because I love it. They seem to love what I'm doing too. I'm going to keep going. I have this community I'm building with them. And so with all of my students, I make sure we're in a band together. That's the way I look.
yeah, that's a great attitude. Yeah. Uh, I'm sorry, I don't mean to, cut you off, but just a few days ago, my husband and I were inspired to speak in the car, stuck in the
To sing,
traffic. I'm sorry?
to sing.
To sing. Yeah, we
Yeah.
wanted to, we love singing in the car, feel very comfortable, especially, stuck in a traffic. And it made us feel so good. We were singing, what is it? Triviata by Pavarotti.
Oh, wow. That's
It
nice.
felt so good. There's certain music that makes you feel so good. And I was telling my husband said, "Oh, do you wanna, you know, start learning how to sing?" And he just said it randomly, and I said, well, if I don't care to sing well because I don't have an audience, but if I ever learn, it would definitely be from Bella.
Aw,
So yeah, so
I
I'm
would love
yeah,
to meet you.
yeah. You're I mean, you've got definitely a character, and you're very professional, and you're also empathetic. How do you call it? Is that yeah? And those are the points that I noticed. But yeah, please go on. What are your secrets?
Well,
Still.
that's a good one right there. That's actually really important. I think that you have to be able to read somebody's energy when they're playing, especially the thing about music lessons and especially singing lessons are so scary for
Mm.
everybody. I don't think I've ever had a student come in on the first day and just be like, all right, let's do this. They're always terrified. Everybody is always scared, and it can take them several weeks to actually get into that very relaxed state where they're not scared anymore, because singing is very scary for everybody. I think it's because, first of all, if you think about it, the voice comes from inside here, it comes from inside the body. It's sort of like a direct connection to your soul. And I like to compare singing in front of people as being more intense than if you walked outside without any clothes on.
Mm.
Everybody, that's like everyone's nightmare from childhood, is going to school in their underwear.
By the way, I have many nightmares like that. Like,
Right?
so it happens so many. I just go into public completely naked. This happens so many times in my dream.
It's terrifying thought. Everybody would feel so vulnerable if they absent-mindedly walked out of their house without any clothes on, or if they had a wardrobe malfunction in front of people. It would feel so humiliating. And because they're exposed, their private area is exposed, and the soul, the inner landscape, is private. Like, that's the one part that we get to protect from everybody. And when you sing, it's different from speaking. It's even speaking is scary for people, though, for the same reason.
Mm.
But singing is an extra layer of terrifying, because it's so vulnerable. It's people's soul is completely exposed, and there's a permission slip that our society gives to make fun of other people's voices. It's like totally acceptable. And I hated the period of American Idol. Do you remember when American Idol was so
Oh yeah.
popular? Oh, I hated it. I hated watching that show because I hated the auditions. They were so mean to those people. Remember? And that's what made it so great. Everybody loved those shows. But I hurt every time I watched them. I couldn't watch them
Mm.
because I understand, and believe me, like I said, my school was not warm and fuzzy. I experienced all kinds of harsh criticism, and that's how you learn, okay? Like, that's how you do it. But if you want to create, that's my role, if I want to create future musicians, I need to make people feel safe in my environment. I'm not here to get a laugh out of someone's embarrassment. So I need to make sure that people know that I have a saying in my lessons that this is where you sound ugly. You need to make ugly sounds in here, and you need to feel safe doing so. Because you're not going to get to the pretty until you make the ugly sounds.
I get
And
the chill. That's
yeah, and you
beautiful.
don't have someone you can be comfortable doing that in front of, because there's nobody else. There's nobody else you can do that in front of. Nobody else will give you that space. So for me, I tell them, I'm the one. You make ugly sounds in front of me, and then I'm going to correct them. I'm going to tell you how to change them. And then you don't have to make those sounds in front of other people.
Yeah, that's so funny. In the beginning of the relationship with my husband, I love dancing, and I asked my husband, if he danced, and he said, no, 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 never, never. And I was kind of disappointed, but it's so not true. Now he's the one who will be dancing before me.
Oh,
And also singing was something else. Like, I like casual singing, even though I don't, I might not sing well. I like singing. And then my husband, in the beginning, he was not comfortable. But then we went to this local music concert and in Japan. They were dressed up so nicely. They had like hair decoration. It was like women in, I don't know, 60s and 70s, and they looked professional. Like they had like, certain costume. And so we were quite, impatient to listen to how they would sing. But the singing was really, really horrific. I mean,
oh,
I actually kept, my husband and I, we just kept on looking at each other. Is this maybe the style? Or we were not maybe understanding the style. And they went on. A second song was a Disney song that
what song? A Disney song.
Disney
Okay.
song that everyone knew, and it was like they proved that they sang really bad.
That's when you knew.
Yeah,
No, I know what that song sounds like.
yeah, right. and from that point, my husband started to sing and dance.
Oh, give him permission.
Like both of us started to sing and dance so comfortably each other.
Huh.
And so, yeah, your theory, I mean, was applied to us. Like we are so comfortable, singing. I mean, who cares, right? Like we are just singing between us. So that's a beautiful teaching, though. Like what kind of teacher would do that? It's, to make them feel very comfortable that they can show their ugly voice, so that they
Mhm.
can, feel comfortable and relaxed to perform well.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
It does make a big difference. Because I've always been a self-conscious singer myself, even though I've been putting myself out there forever. I did go through a period of time where I did experience pretty severe stage fright. It
Mm.
I didn't experience it at all when I was younger. It came on when I was about 31, and it lasted a long time. It was a rough period in my life.
Mm.
I did eventually get over it, but I thought I was still teaching throughout this whole period as well, and doing private studio gigs, and the only performances I gave were at recitals. That's it. And I would have to really really do all kinds of stuff. So I have a very intimate understanding now of how scary it is for people. And I just, while I was going through it, I remember telling myself that it won't last forever and one day I'll get out of it and I'll use the knowledge to be a better teacher. And it's true. I have to say that it hasn't been that long since that spell was broken. And I have become a much better voice teacher since that happened.
That's fantastic. I do think that whenever we are going through this dark time, that's like there's always a huge uh, benefits or some, huge aha moments coming out. Yeah, that has been my experience in my life. So yeah, that makes it more interesting as a coach. So you can cater to different kind of students' needs,
Mm-hmm.
right? So when you share when you teach your students, not just on the technique side, but for nutrition wise, um, what's the reaction of your students? Because I'm not sure is it like a common thing in as a music coach to talk
Mm.
about nutrition, or you have to be hydrated? Like, I don't know. I don't know anything about it. So can you share a little more on that?
That's a great question. In my experience as a student throughout my life, I would not say it's common. Usually, there have been, I can think of just a couple moments in my life as a student when I learned about nutrition, and it was on the first day of my high school program. when I was in my first day of a class called vocal technique. And then in college, because my high school operated on a college model, I had to take the same class again in college. And on the first day of that class, we talked about it. And then other than that, it was never spoken of again. Never. So it's highly unusual. But I think it's so important. And I'm trying to figure out how to incorporate it more into my lessons. I talk to them about it as I hear issues coming up. Like if students have like a chronic phlegm problem, I'll talk to them about dairy. Dairy is the first thing I tell them to quit. I don't tell any of my students to go vegan. I think that's out of line, but I do tell them I'm a vegan. I do tell them about my life as a raw vegan, and I shared them with them sometimes my Instagram page, depending on how old they are, because sometimes I can be irreverent with my speech. So I try to be careful about that. But I do share with all of my voice students about nutrition every chance I get. I do notice I have one student in particular who I feel has taken up my advice, and I can hear a difference in his voice. It's clearer. He's more hydrated. That's what it is.
Wow, that's amazing as a career. I wish I have that career to kind of sneaking, you should quit your dairy. You should go maybe vegan, raw vegan. That's amazing as a career that you can just kind of sneak in. Maybe, I mean, you're not doing that for your benefit, right? But I mean, you do see the results when you share that nourish and when they apply it.
Well, they see my example. I tell them I've been plant-based for a long time now. It's like almost 30 years at this point. And I've been raw for 11 years. I've been into health for a really long time. I tell them about how I exercise. I encourage them to do yoga. Yoga is really helpful for a singer because the muscles of the core, you can't see me, I'm pointing to my obliques, I'm pointing to my abdomen. It's really important to have flexible muscles here because singers learn how to breathe with their shoulders down. So a normal breath is like that, but a singer has to learn how to keep the shoulders down. And instead what we do is I'm going to bring my camera. We push this part out. You can see me expanding. That's how we take in more oxygen into our lungs. It's more efficient, and it's also less distracting from a visual perspective. So I was telling you that because we were talking about, I tell them about yoga. I tell them about cardio because we have to have strong lungs. Singers have to have amazing breath control. We have to be able to think about your favorite singer who holds a note out for an amazing amount of time. That is something that takes a long time to train for. You have to build up stamina in your breathing region. You have to become flexible in your core, not just in the front, but also in the back. All your muscles have to be flexible so they can expand a lot. So I talk to them about that. I tell them all to give up dairy. I'm not shy about that. Dairy is the worst thing for a singer, the worst. And alcohol. I tell them to just, obviously most people don't want to quit alcohol forever, but I tell them to at least try to minimize the amount they drink and up their green juice and their fresh fruits. I tell them to eat a lot of fresh fruit and drink a lot of water, of course, and green juice, but I don't think any of them listen to me. I wish they would. It really is the secret.
Didn't get it yet.
It takes time, to make juice and money. It's expensive to buy them already packed. But yeah, so I do I try to lead by example. I've had one student who actually did go vegan from my example, but he was a piano student. He wasn't even a voice student. So that was I didn't expect that to happen. I expected that to come from a voice student at some point.
How interesting is that?
Yeah.
Wow. So yeah, so you're not shy about telling them quit the dairy, and I do believe that it's definitely dairies are the biggest mucus forming foods.
Hmm.
It's also root of all the allergy. So I
Hmm.
mean, I can't imagine being a singer and going through this like allergy season. That must
Yeah,
be a nightmare. Closing
it
up
is.
this throat,
It is.
right?
It makes them cough. You're right. Giving up the dairy helps with the allergies. And that's actually what convinced my piano student to give it up because he was having a lot of allergies. And I
Mm.
said something about how, oh, yeah, I used to have allergies and then I went vegan and I don't have them anymore. And
Oh
he
wow,
actually listened to me. I was shocked. Nobody ever listens to me in that
that's
respect.
what. Yeah, that's what we think that people are not listening. But when you stop caring, they just it just gets to their head, and oh, that's fantastic. What else? So you're actually you not only you're a piano teacher and singing coach, you also do voice coach as well. How did it like that? That's interesting. And I never I didn't know how that career works. Like
For speakers.
uh-huh.
Yeah. Yeah, I work with a few people. It's a lot of fun actually because the thing about the era we live in is that nobody takes the voice seriously at all. It's not something anybody ever thinks about unless they want to become a singer or an actor. Sometimes lawyers will think about it. A lot of successful lawyers will take speech classes and other people like sometimes teachers who are heavily invested in their career, people who use their voice for a living will invest in speech classes, but for the most part nobody thinks about it. And if you think back to a few generations ago, if you watch an old movie like an old black and white film, you'll notice that all the actors, if you just tune into the sound of their voice for a moment, anybody can do this. You don't really have to be trained. If you just tune in to the sound of their voice and notice how their voice makes you feel, like, does their voice put you at ease? Maybe that might be a tall order because they tend to speak very quickly. And so that might rattle some people's nerves, but it's the quality of the voice, the resonance, because they all worked on their voices. And even regular people worked on their voices because, especially women, they considered it to be um, part of their beauty routine. So,
Mm.
just like they would style their hair, work on their makeup, work on their fashion, they would also work on the sound of their voice because they recognize that it's a point of attraction. People are attracted to voices and people are repelled by voices. So, David,
Mm.
my partner, he works in legal and he has shared with me, and he also has a theater background. So he studied voice in New York City with a famous voice teacher. And so we've talked a lot about this. And I found it really interesting to hear from his perspective that he's been in court cases where the lawyers lost their case when they had a good case, but he believes it was the sound of their voice. The jury just couldn't get behind that guy. It was
Okay,
just
can you? I mean, you were not there, obviously, but can you?
right.
What kind of voice was it?
So I would speculate it has to do with tension. When somebody has a lot of tension in their voice, they sound nervous. And so even if you can't identify it, like you're not a trained voice teacher, okay, I got it. You don't know what it is, but something doesn't feel right when you're listening to them. And
Mm-hmm.
it's because they're giving off a fear vibration. Or maybe they're not nervous in the moment. Maybe it's just how they speak. Maybe it's just their voice pattern. That's how they've always spoken, or at least they have for a long time. In fact, this is actually becoming a chronic problem in America. The American voice has taken on this very tight, very tense sound, and it's become very high pitched. It's like very
Mm.
strangled. I don't know if you've noticed. Like I'm trying my best to do an impression
Yeah,
of it.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
I have to take
It was unpleasant to listen to.
No, it's not pleasant to listen to, right? And there are some people though who are just like, they're so unfazed by it, but I think it's because they've just gotten used to it. And I don't think that they know to even look for it. But I think once it's pointed out to you, you'll start to notice it more. And you think about a meditation instructor. Think about the best meditation recording you've ever listened to. And the voice is, it's like very relaxed. It's sitting right here in the chest. It's not tight. It's just it's moving slow. It has a melodic quality to it. It kind of hypnotizes you. And I think a lot of people are chronically stressed today. And there's also a lot of fear of judgment that our society has been captured by for a long time. I've been noticing this. And I've noticed the sound of people's voices has become more and more strangled over time. And it's a totally unconscious thing. Nobody realizes they're doing it. But I personally think it's because people are living with so much fear and anxiety. And that's the thing about the voice, is that everybody's inner world, that's why I was saying it's a direct reflection of the soul. And that's what scares people, because they're afraid that even if they sound semi good, they're afraid that somebody like me is going to be in the audience who's going to know that person had a bad fight with somebody before they came out on stage. You know, they know that at least one person in the audience is going to hear that fear in their voice. They don't want to be exposed. They don't want anybody to know that. You know, even me saying this right now is probably making some people uncomfortable, just hearing me say that, because there's now a feeling of like, oh God, there are people who know this. You know, I can't hide.
Yeah, it's so interesting. You know, I work as a coach and facilitator in business and personal setting, and I also had to learn, you know, the pitch I speak in, the kind of tones that I speak, like, but naturally, I used to speak very, very fast, like, you know, in Japanese. Then now I speak 4 languages, and it's just very confusing for me. So I do speak slower, like my head is like a bit confused. But I had to learn that the tone of voice, you know, is so important. And I can totally understand and resonate that judge, you know, letting this lawyer lose because she just couldn't, you know, it was just maybe irritating, right? And it's like we are not aware of it. There's so many signs, like the way we move, the tone, and also, there's so many circumstances, the environment also kind of convinced it's not what we speak, right? It's we are more of like a emotional animal that we tend to just kind of judge without knowing what it is.
Yeah, we're like you said, our environment. We're an antenna. We're an energy. We pick up energy frequencies from all over the place. And somebody who wants to be a really good singer has to become very self-aware. And that is a very difficult thing to do. I think that might be actually the hardest thing about going on a path where you want to be a great singer. It's really hard to become so self-aware that you're aware of how the room is making you feel, and how the person next to you is making you feel, and how your thoughts are affecting your feelings. It's singing it relies heavily on emotion to be pretty. So we can talk all day about technique and adjusting the muscles in a certain way to where you get a certain sound to come out. And that's a more mechanical part of singing. But then the beauty comes from the emotion that you put behind the song and behind the sound. And so that takes an incredible amount of self-awareness. That is
Mm-hmm.
very, very difficult to do. In a way, voice lessons, this is one of the reasons I'm so grateful to you for having me on your channel to talk about this, because if anybody watches this and takes one thing away, it's that the reason I want to talk more about the cross links between health and singing is because singing provides an opportunity for you to heal a lot of traumas that are sitting inside your body that you don't even realize they're there.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll just stop there. I'll just stop with that because there's probably a lot I probably opened up when I said that. But it's an important health practice is what I'm trying to say.
Mm-hmm.
It is something that should be in the toolbox of all of the people like us who are obsessed with health practices and trying to live an optimal life. I think working on the voice is an important part of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, actually, the title of this live was raw vegan as the benefits of raw vegan for singing. And most people don't, that we're not professional singers, so we don't care about it. But it connects to how we speak, right? That's so important, and it's that applies to interviews or winning the case as a lawyer, and it could be just a general conversation as a couple, to be more convincing. Like there are certain voice tones that you might want to use, right? It's quite interesting how it works. So I'm so happy to hear that from the music, it kind of close to like on a daily practical use as for voice, like speaking, so speech, like training for not training, but like just understanding how we speak would could influence your life actually.
Yeah, it has become, I don't know how to say this. Like I said, this is my first time getting to share this publicly, which is so awesome. It's become my greatest teacher and healing tool. It's become my greatest guide on this whole journey of my life in terms of learning how to be a human being, learning how to deal with the difficult things that have happened, learning how to move forward in life, learning how to rise above any health problems, any psychological and spiritual problems, any interpersonal communication problems, like you said, in a conversation, becoming self-aware to the point where I can notice what my voice feels like when I'm having a conversation with somebody. Like at the beginning of this, I was a little nervous. And so I could feel a little bit of tension in my throat. And that was my signal that, hey, just take a deep breath. This is not a big deal. Take a deep breath. Just try to ease into this. And then as I continued focusing on that, the tension started to go away. And that signaled to me that, all right, we're in a good spot right now. So whatever's going on, whatever you're saying is good because you're saying it from a place of relaxation. There's no fear underlying it. So that means, going back to the stage fright thing, which is really a fear of judgment. What that means is if anybody has a problem with me, with what I'm saying, I can say with confidence, it's not my problem because I am being relaxed and I'm being as authentic as possible. And that's just, we have trolls that exist in this world who want to try to cut people down. And part of becoming a singer is learning how to say, who cares?
Right. I mean, you're also being respectful. You're just being authentic, but being respectful to the public. So yeah, and it's how if not just by singing, not just for people who go on the stage, who has to go on the stage. It's such an important message. Yeah, speech is one of the most frightening thing for many people. So
It is.
yeah, and so Bella is a very popular teacher, and you do teach online. So
Yeah.
you are quite booked up, but if anyone is interested, where is a good place to reach you out?
You can find me on my website, bellapayne.com, and that's Payne, bellapayne.com. And you can find me on Instagram, Raw Vegan Bella. I check all my messages there, so if that's easier. And I do keep a pretty full calendar, but I miraculously always seem to find a spot for people. So I want to teach anybody who wants to learn. And so anybody who
Mhm.
reaches out to me, I make a sincere effort to make it happen because I care very much about this. I think it's a very quiet form of activism in a way, because
Mhm.
I feel that the world is full of very, very scared and ungrounded people. And if only they could just use their voices to get out of that fear, then they would be happier, and they would create a domino effect in their life of happier people. And it's really important to me to teach as many people who want to learn.
That's beautiful. Yeah,
Mm.
if anyone wants to reach out, I will definitely. I think I shared on the YouTube description of your website, but I'll add your website, bellapayne.com.
Thank you.
And then some other links that we mentioned, I will try to paste it on the description. But it's very hard to find a teacher like Bella who has an experience for a long period of time, who is passionate for such a long period of time, and who is kind and empathetic. I know that there are not too many teachers like Bella. So if anyone has a chance, it's such an honor to be able to connect with such a wonderful teacher, Bella. And I'm really happy to be able to, I was sort of connecting place, so someone who is needed anywhere in the world, can connect to Bella if they need piano lesson. You do it online, singing lesson as well. You can do it online as well on singing.
Yeah, yeah, it's
That's beautiful.
amazing. It's an amazing world we live in.
Mm-hmm. And then voice coach, and also you are a nutritional coach as well.
That's right. That's right.
That
Raw food, nutrition.
That's
Yeah.
fantastic. And I saw that if someone was not, correct me if I'm wrong, if I think there was only a question on if someone is not satisfied with your service, you can you refund the money
Definitely.
back. I
Definitely.
I have never seen any Americans do that.
I
I do
want
that.
people to feel good. I want people to be happy.
Yeah, but I do that when I do coaching, and if they're not, if the service was not to their expectation, I don't want that money. I want to give it back. But I do think that's quite rare, and that's because you're confident with what you do.
That's why I did that. I wanted people to know that I'm confident that I'll help you. I know I will.
Mm,
And if I don't, then please take the money back, because
mm,
I help people all the time. And I've gotten to a point now where I know that I have something to offer people. And so I want people to see that, and realize that it's totally risk-free, and
mm,
I'm confident that you'll get something out of your time with me.
that's beautiful. Oh, I wish my piano teacher was you. With someone like you, at least. Oh, my piano teacher was not at all.
Did your piano teacher slap your hands?
She didn't slap. She slapped my back. And
Oh
she had a pencil, and she was poking.
no.
She was poking my hands and also my back.
Oh
I don't know
my
how she was my piano teacher from 3 years old until 11 years old. I
god.
was so ashamed. I was so horrified, and I didn't want to practice because it it wasn't, if it's not fun, I wouldn't practice. And when I was at 11, I remember she just fired me. And I was so happy. I was scared to tell my parents, but I was so happy in a way that, oh, finally, I can be released.
I
But
am so sorry that happened to you. I have heard so many horror stories over the years. When I tell people I'm a piano teacher, I always hear either, oh, I wish my parents hadn't made me quit. I regret that. Or I occasionally do get the nightmare story about the teachers who were abusive. Like, this is abusive behavior. And I always ask, I always want to have the details. I want to know, like, okay, what did your teacher do to you? None of my teachers ever physically hit me at all. I was spared that, but I had teachers who were like psychologically abusive. Like, oh my God, like some of
that's
the
the
things
worst.
some of the things they said to me like still haunt me to this day, where if I mess up or if I'm late for a rehearsal, oh my God, I hear that voice in my head, just this like wicked voice. And when I started teaching, I overcompensated, to be honest with you. I was a little too nice in the beginning, but
Mm.
I had this fear that I was going to become, I didn't want to be one of those teachers. I did everything in my power to make sure I was the opposite. I was like, I'm going to lead by empathy. And oh, my camera zooms in. Sorry,
Yeah.
I have AI in it. Anyway, yeah, I'm so sorry that happened to you.
Oh, it's okay. I'm a teacher also, and I learn from those experiences just like you did. But anyway, is there anything else that you wanted to share? Is there any other important messages? And don't worry, this is not the first and only. There will be another one coming up for sure. But is there any other message that you wanted to leave with?
um, I would encourage people to sing in whatever capacity makes them feel comfortable. So it could be in your car when you're alone, or it could be in the shower, or maybe because a lot of people are not comfortable singing in front of people or anyone who's within earshot. And I totally get that. But if you could try to get used to the idea of singing when no one's around and just start to notice what it feels like. I tell all of my voice students that the most important thing we're going to work on in the beginning is noticing what's happening in here, noticing the feelings in the body. Because most people, the average human being, this is just my observation, I don't know the statistics, but I think from my observation, the average human being is completely disconnected from their bodies. I don't think that the average person actually notices what's happening in here. And so singers have to go through a process where they learn how to pay attention to the feelings.
Mm.
And so when you're singing, have fun, sing your songs that you love, sing along to the radio or your Spotify playlist or whatever, and try to pay attention to what you feel in here. And if you feel any kind of tension, notice it. And instead of judging yourself, that's a waste of time. Instead of judging yourself, see if you can get it to relax.
Mm-hmm.
And notice what happens when your voice relaxes.
Mm-hmm.
Start to pay attention, and you're going to get to the relaxation phase at some point, and just notice how good it feels.
Mm-hmm.
And then every time you sing, try to get to that good feeling place. Make that a goal. And then what will happen is, this isn't even about singing. Like, this is about your health and your improvement on this life path. What will happen once you start to tap into this relaxation feeling in your voice is you'll start to sense things. You'll start to get ideas. You'll start to desire this feeling more, and you'll start seeking out ways to feel more at ease in your body. It will have a domino effect in your healing process. So just try to sing in any capacity you can, and then pay attention to what's happening.
And you teach professional and non-professional singers.
Yes, I love working with both. I love working with professionals. So anybody who's on a career path, I work with a lot of career path singers. I love working with them because it's hard for them to find a voice teacher, because a lot of voice teachers are also on a career path themselves, and it can be a little, I don't know, it can be a little weird. For me, I'm mostly focused on teaching, and I have a strong desire to see people become very successful. It's
It's
my
not a
greatest,
competition.
not a competition. It's my greatest wish. I haven't gotten there yet. I have students who are on the path. I have some students who have gotten quite successful in their own niche. But I haven't had that one student that I taught from the ground up break out. And I'm going to have it one day. And when
Mm.
that moment comes, it's going to be like as if you gave me a Grammy Award. Like that's the thing I
Mm.
want. So I want to work with more professional singers who are on that career path because I want to help them. I have a professional background, even though I'm not famous, even though you've never seen me before. I've been a professional singer for, I don't know, like 25, 30 years or something. It's crazy. And I've made a living off of it. So I actually do know what I'm talking about, and I can help these people get further along. So them, yes. And also absolute beginners, because like I said, I care about health and I care about helping people become healthy. And I see there's career path, that's one thing. But then there's average everyday person who is just trying to work on becoming a healthier human being, a happier human being. Those are the beginner students. So yeah, anybody who wants to sing, I want to help you.
Oh, anyone who could connect and hire Bella as a teacher and coach, they are the blessing ones. They're the honored one. So,
Thank
and
you.
yeah, is there any song that makes you feel happy? Because I almost forgot. Would you be able to sing?
I would love to sing for you. Yeah, if you want to
Oh
hear a
my
song.
God, that's so exciting. Okay, what kind of song? What would you like to sing? What kind of song that makes you? I mean, what's your mood now?
So these days, I only sing songs that make me feel good. I don't sing any angry music. I don't sing sad music except for, well, sometimes sad songs can be cathartic. And if I'm in a sad
Mm.
mood, I definitely enjoy that. And it's very medicinal and it helps me get out. But these days, I'm very focused on community, which is how we met through the Raw Vegan
Mm.
Bundle. And we met around the same time I started my blog, Raw Vegan No Friends, where I kind of vent about not having any friends who are in my realm of thinking and in real
But
life at least.
yeah, by the way, I love it. I love the visual image, and I love your writing as well. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Well, you and I have become good friends. And so now I feel like but I was hoping that would happen. I was hoping I would do this blog and then I would meet friends. And that's exactly what happened. And so now I feel very grateful to have you as a friend, and it's wonderful. And so I'm very focused on community building these days. And so the song I decided I wanted to sing for you is called You've Got a Friend. Do you know that song by James
Mm.
Taylor?
I
No?
love
No,
the
you do.
music.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love
It's
that
a
song.
beautiful song. I'm going to switch.
Oh my God.
When you're down and troubled and you need a helping hand, and nothing is going right, close your eyes and think of me, and soon I will be there to brighten up even your darkest night. should turn dark and full of clouds, and that old north wind should begin to blow. Keep your head together and come out in loud now. Soon I'll be knocking upon your door, and you just call out my name, and you know wherever I am, I'll come running to see you again. Winter, spring, summer, or fall, all you gotta do is call, and I'll be there, yeah, yeah. Ain't it good to know that you've got a friend when people can be so cold? Oh, they'll hurt you, they'll desert you, and they'll take your soul if you let them. Oh yeah, but don't you let them. And you just call out my name, and you know wherever I am, I'll come running to see you again.